Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. I think we're actually getting into the song. Cool. So I've got a OBS Lua script that tries to check if I have muted myself where I don't want to be. And it looks like this is not configured right currently. Maybe that was on purpose. Alarm media source. Now this one, there's no really good situation. Well, that may have been left over from the test. I'm not sure there's a good situation where I can turn that back off. Okay, so yes, actually, when it turns it on, it can turn it off. So now the issue I have, well, there's one primary issue, and sometimes when changing scenes, right, we have none of the defined layers here. Color source has no rules. And this says color source 2, which does have rules. It says alarm if on. So we probably want to rename these. And yeah, if it thinks so it's detecting, interesting. That's an interesting setup there. And then it reset? Alarm if mute. Oh no, we went back to this one. Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing when there is an issue, and like it doesn't like I don't know exactly what the error is. So one of the things I want to do is add some logging around this stuff. So I know if is it not getting the scene update? Is it not getting the audio status update for that scene? Is it not getting a source update? Okay, so you're there, but you're not visible. And the other thing is that I had an issue where when it was doing this, I muted the alarm. And then the next day I came back, and for whatever reason, the alarm didn't turn on. And we had about 2 hours where the mic was muted. So I think the thing that we can definitely do is add a unmute on script load, which is probably going to be OBS load, essentially. Now, because, yeah, especially because of rendering the custom source here. But I think possibly also somewhat in general. Because we have filters on all of these things to define the rules. We actually have to have multiple scripts because OBS has a script lock per script for its threading model. And then we also have to deal with various locks internally for the scene information and the microphone information. And then there's a video mutex for drawing this custom source. So basically, we were locking up OBS if we tried to do it all in one script, because you would get script lock, and then maybe it was like the video lock to get scene visibility information or something. And then you come along and try to draw this, and it would have to take video lock and then load something from the scripts. That would be the script mutex, not lock, mutex lock. So that's why we've got multiple scripts. The settings filter provides the filter. Custom source, it's primarily for window projector. Yeah, I'm doing it here just for convenience. But the idea is you would, if you need to be monitoring things, you would window projector this off to your second monitor or whatever. And I will look at that sometimes when I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Clearly, I think what was happening when we had an error is it switched scenes, but the microphone was showing up wrong. So, first thing we want to do is have a catch for my error the other day. And I guess we're going to see, I don't have a checkbox here, so I'm going to have to see if that's a thing we can do, or if we have to do a drop down for like yes, no. To automatically reset, why did you do that? Oh, we just lost our podcaster rule. No, yeah, and it saved it too. Oh, maybe I bumped something when I opened this. Podcaster. Alarm if mute. Okay. I must have bumped something here. Maybe I selected one of these and did the scroll, which changed the setting. All right, we're going to need a little bit of OBS documentation to add a checkbox. Well, I guess I can add the feature and then a checkbox. So this is going to be that's the main script. Alarm source. Set alarm visible. I'm not sure I ever actually controlled the mute state of something before. Been a while since I had to use the documentation. Okay. So this is gonna be... is this a source property or a scene item property? I'm pretty sure... Yeah, mute is a scene item property, or a source property. Source API. Yeah, so visibility of scene items, mute status. Oh, we have to get the mute status of OBS source muted. So it should be around there. Set muted. So we should be able to set alarm visible. So this should be and I was doing this on a callback for some reason, probably to try and avoid some locks. Set alarm audible. So now I don't need so that gets you an item. And we've gotten, see, an alarm source is a source. OBS data. No, alarm source is a string. Okay. So this is scene find source. Can I just straight up find a source? Because they do have to have unique names. I know I've run into that. Signals. Get display name. Source create. We'll have to remove or return a source, right? Oh, this might actually be a top-level function. Now, there's actually a special thing. Like differences from the API. Enum sources. No, okay, so that's not a custom function. So I don't know if this would be like, yeah, there's no find functions. Get source. Get filter by name. OBS core API. Reference core. So I guess this is like core API as a topic in and of itself. Yep, get output, get source by name, chat name. Okay, set alarm visible, set alarm audible. We do have to have a name. So local obs.obs get source by name. Alarm source. Now, I don't remember how much I can do in terms of saying, hey, we got something. And then source API. OBS source set muted false. OBS, yes, I think so. So, script load, add callback, bootstrap rule settings, examine source states. All right, so reload. Oops. The alarm became invisible. Shoot, what's the dash? I'm probably doing that on purpose because the rules are script unload, activate alarm, play alarm, set alarm. Might be just this one. Which, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Kinda. Oh. All right, must be something else. So set alarm visible, activate alarm, play alarm. There might be a set alarm. Trigger active. Because we do try to clear it when, yeah, else no violation, set alarm false. Well, that really shouldn't affect our ability to toggle it. It's just a minor distraction right now. I actually have to turn it on. Okay. Okay, I turned that off because I thought it might be not doing the right thing. Okay, so that is not working. So the first, I need to remember how to print in this. So what do we have? We actually have nothing. I probably got some comments here, right? Script log. Script log. Oh, is this one of the things where I did my own constant function? Yeah, if false. So first of all, I have to do that. Script alarm name set, and then I don't know if I can print a source. Well, we can find out if it's... I can definitely find that out. Script load, alarm name set, and I do not see that it's not nil. All right. Well, I need to take a short break. I will be back in a minute or two. Tutorial.
Now she's just killing everybody.
14 strength. That's pretty sweet. But is that what they started with? Because that doesn't get boosted up, right? As far as I know. Okay, so we need to do some more debugging. So the issue is when it comes out here, it wants to go in either direction. So when it comes out, I think we need to make sure... But why would it ever try and go backwards? There's an exit over here.
Yep. Ah! Well, I can at least try to get near to the truck, or actually I could even try to get near to home base from this height. See, you got to make that body retrieval easy. You just put it right along the path, pick it up on your way back to the truck.
14 strength. That's pretty sweet. But is that what they started with? Because that doesn't get boosted up, right? As far as I know. Okay, so we need to do some more debugging. So the issue is when it comes out here, it wants to go in either direction. So when it comes out, I think we need to make sure... But why would it ever try and go backwards? There's an exit over here. Like a...
Welcome back. Alright, do we ever do get source by name anywhere else? And we do a few things with... Nope, that's... Does that function work for us? So I do have some other debugging. What is yeah. Oh yeah, I moved that up there. Update source rules. But I think most places when we deal with sources, we're getting it from someplace else. Do we get sources any other way? No. No, actually, this is, well, source, not nil. We did not see that. So, in effect, can we... Would this do anything, even? It might be just not doing anything on a nil. We need this where we can see stuff. Yep. So probably We're just getting the same stuff over and over again. Okay, after get and it probably has a nil check. Oh, is it adding down here? Yeah. So why does get source by name not work? Now, I know I've gotten things from, well, I've gotten scene items. I should be able to get the source from some indirect reference from that. It just seemed like a... And this is why we use another copy. Is alarm source a name? Get string. Why would we not be able to print that? When settings are changed. This might be in some common stuff, maybe? No. Called when settings are changed. Okay, alarm. Why would doing that here crash it? So every once in a while I end up, let's see, so that is something that will crash right now. That is very, very mysterious. Oh, maybe? So every once in a while I get into a situation where I have either left the microphone off when I want it on, or I have left like starting soon, stream over, BRB up when I don't want it on, which usually is when the microphone is on. And I often want the microphone muted during those times so people don't hear me going to the bathroom or whatever. So I've got a script that checks for, let's see, there's actually none here. So we set up, no, not properties, filters. Set up filters that say, well, if this thing is visible, then you need to, for 5 seconds, then you need to tell me that my microphone is on. Or by default, if it's muted for, oh, we lost this one again. If it's muted for too long, yeah. If it's muted for too long, then you need to tell me about that. So what I'm trying, I've had this occasional problem where when changing scenes, it doesn't detect the microphone state properly. The other day, I muted the alarm so it would stop going during the BRB screen, and then forgot to unmute the alarm and also somehow misclicked unmute mic. So the first thing I want to do is have it unmute the alarm on startup. The second thing I want to do is try and put some logging around state changes here. So they can try and figure out why it's getting messed up in the first place. But I have this weird thing where get source by name isn't working, and simply attempting to log the name of the source, which is just a string, is actually crashing OBS. Maybe if I... man, is it... Don't do any of this other stuff. Am I, like, just logging too much? No. So another question is, have I loaded this setting? I mean, it should still be a empty string, which I would not expect ever to crash OBS. Oh, you know what? I'm only checking not equal to nil. It defaults to this. Which, I mean, arguably means my other thing. Oh, that's visible, which might also be true, but it's never caused me trouble. So now I want to look at is the log order. So it's going down. No, defaults is the first. Well, defaults. We need update. Script load, update. Set alarm audible. Oh, which means it is blank. Why the heck would printing a blank string crash it? Okay, so I need to put this someplace else. Now, unfortunately, that means it's not actually here in script load. We have to wait until script update to actually get our alarm source. I guess we're going to have to do that anytime settings change. How do we see alarm name set? Can we now print it? Because that's a really weird thing. Okay, now we can print it. I don't know why. Printing a blank string. All right, well now we might actually be able to find the alarm source because it has a name. Now, of course, I want a scene which doesn't actually have the alarm. But the source should still gotten turned on. Okay. Reload. Okay, so it's unmuted. I had the volume down because there was things that were actually triggering it. Wait, what? I appear to have bumped this again. Oop. It's so easy to get into one of these controls. So that gives us some base level. Well, prevents the problem I had the other day, but maybe somebody doesn't want that? As much as I'd rather not have it on this, well, I guess I could have like a first run Boolean for the very first update. Oh. Why are you triggering? So mic is a default device that OBS gives you that I don't know if it's like all inputs. I think it might be all audio inputs. Podcaster, and actually what I'm seeing here is that it's actually not detecting this properly. Properties, device, oh, yeah. Is a specific audio device. Because like the camera, I believe, well, you can't see the camera, it's on top of the monitor, has a option to have a mic. I might have actually just disabled the device in Windows because I don't use it. I didn't see it in the device list. In theory, this is like everything. And then this is a specific device. And one of the other things I do in my real setup is that I have, you can actually have multiple audio devices for the same, or audio inputs, mixer things for the same device. So I have a different mic that I use for Stepmania, where it has some boost on it. because I'm standing farther away and it's not in the optimal position. So I use that in my real setup to have the two different mics, and then I use them in different scenes. I also have, because I have these alarms set up, I have another one that's default muted, which I can turn on during BRB and whatnot if I do need to say something, but it's not being checked by the rules. So I need to have some sort of like... Now where is my other data in common? Yes, all the rule data is in common. This is probably fine though. Is it false? Okay, might work. Oh no, first update is true. And then in script update, wait. Right, because I did turn this on. Okay, no. Why are you actually triggering right now? Well, we want to do this. So we want to check that alarm gets unmuted from the first update, and then if I change something else, it does not get unmuted. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do, I wanted to see what kind of properties we can get, and I guess we unmute this now. And if it's still going, we're gonna have to debug that, because it's not supposed to be on right now. So this would be under properties. There are Boolean properties, which well, I'm forgetting. I think properties are the controls. There is a Boolean property, which we presume would be a checkbox. And then we need get bool, I guess. These are for specific manipulations. Properties add bool. Properties. This is actually going to be in a lot of commons. Well, no, you have the dialog box. props. So isn't there like a script defaults? So yeah, set default string. And then we've got audio. This is per, yeah, so the why did I do that twice? Was that a mistake? So we've got set default alarm source. Now this is going to have to be alarm active, trigger active, deep rule, serialize rule, deserialize rule, date source rule. Timeout, any. Yeah, I think this is the stuff that can be shared with the per source stuff. So I can, yeah, because you've got alarm source by yourself. So we've got alarm source. Unmute, alarm on load. Going to default to true. Alarm source. Set default. I'm going to assume there's a Boolean. And then script properties gives us the controls that go with those settings. Oh, script update. Alarm source. Unmute alarm on load. Get Boolean. Unmute alarm on load. If first update and unmute alarm on load. Oh, shoot. You know what? We can just always do this, and then we don't have to worry about that not getting set properly. And then script properties. So alarm media source. That has to do some fancy stuff. I might want to do a long description too. Well, actually, I guess we have to. So add that. Add description. And I think it was Boolean, wasn't it? Is this the current value? Set long description. That might not actually need one. Unless I want to do a shorter title. There. We'll see if that looks too big. Uh-oh. Failed to call script update. Failed to call script properties. Error calling script defaults. Oh, no. Okay, so property is bool, which probably means the other things are bool as well. All right. What are we complaining about? Expected 3 to 3. Oh, okay. Oh. You require a description. I don't know why the others don't do that. So props, name. Oh, no, it doesn't have a value. Okay, successfully loaded. Now we just have to test out the actual setting. So right now it should be enabled. Okay. That seems to be doing what it promises. So do we have any other debugging right now? Okay, we've got that. Turned my script on. Oh yeah, we turned off our set alarm. That's new. That's new. Unload. What's this commented out thing here? Oh, that's right. We were testing if that was necessary. I don't think it is. Was that set description? Set default string. Okay. So that seems to be fine. Let's see. So we're on, yeah. Okay, so that's one thing. I'm going to hang on to that a little bit while I do the other debugging. So now, just locally, I want to... Where do we have to look? I think this is the one that's getting most of the events. Yeah, signals sent, bunch of custom stuff, sent and received. Signals received, source create, source destroy, source activate, source deactivate. And that mostly works. And then these are custom ones. So it's either around getting these events, and I don't think, yeah, the filter really shouldn't be doing it. I don't think. Or it's around, we have to check the properties of these. And where am I getting mute and unmute from? There is no signal handlers for that, isn't there? Isn't there like a tick function? Yeah. Mic check, source mute. No, wait, what did I? Process events and check alarm. Right, so when the scene changes, which is actually the thing that we're concerned about, if some other piece of this requested audio sources, front end event scene changed. Deadlocks OBS on startup. Enum sources. FFmpeg. And that's different enum sources. Right, different enum sources. Examine source state. All right, so this is for a particular source. Current source is actually the scene. That's the source for the scene. Signal handler. Name. Get source muted. Get source active. So this is for a particular source. Okay, so this might be the kind of thing we need to turn on. For every source, I probably want to do something on scene change, so I have boundaries on that. Source name, if it's currently active. Wait, there's active. And status is muted. we have an ID and more flags. If it's an audio flag, if it's a video, which I do not remember the bits for those anymore. Okay, so that's our core script. And then we see the enum. Okay, so status monitor, that's must be video. Alarm is like an FFmpeg. Color, podcaster 82. So maybe 1 is video, 2 is audio? Well, all the audio sources seem to be 82. So one of those is your audio flag. So this is saying that we received those. Active muted, active live, active muted. And the bug we're running into is when we change. This has no rules attached to color source, so that's expected. But it is seeing this. Yeah, so this should be sufficient debugging for me. Well, it's the first step of debugging. Well, we got event 8. Hidden scene. And that was it. Well, no, we're not. That was still. Because this scene still had it on. Actually, I wonder if that's it. No, because it actually is cycling sometimes. Ooh, we saw it for a minute there. Or for a moment. Podcaster live, mic aux muted. So did I have any other... mute change. Well, there's another source mute. Oh, but you've got your own script log and status monitor. You're also you're separately watching mute. Well, that's a first step, and then we'll just have to watch the errors. If it turns out that we need to be watching multiple scripts, we're going to have to be watching multiple scripts. Unfortunately, I don't really know what is doing it right now. Are we not? Is there some discrepancy in scene change? Is there some discrepancy in audio state? Is there some discrepancy in scene visibility? I think when I've looked at the monitor, it had the right scene, which means the audio states are out of sync. Yeah, source mute. And there is a printout from this. Alright, well that'll give me something to go on next time it crops up. And I'll at least have the auto unmute to keep me going in the meantime. Check alarm. So if it matches a rule, it does that. Oh, I don't remember which way we were messed up. If it was on, well, if it was on default no mute, or if it was on that with audio. Another thing I have to watch. Alright, so this would probably be where I would switch over to something else. Let me see. Do I have anything else I need to do? Okay, I don't think... I don't think I have anything to do right now. So my other project was working on the One Life data. Do we have anything achievable there in what remains? Well, I need to make epoch detection. I need to make it all incremental at some point. Which maybe I need to get into a database first. All right, so I need to change topics. If you're here for OBS, thanks for hanging out, but I think I have as much as I can do until I catch this bug in the wild, which is one of the things I need to set up. But I am going to, yeah, well, I'm gonna stream for a little bit more, but I'm completely changing topic, so it may or may not interest you. What I'm going to be doing next is there is a game called 101 Life, and it publishes all, like, some major event logs from the game, basically, like, birth and death of all the characters, which are many because it's only 1 hour each. And I am trying to do some stuff that plays with that data. Now, right now I've got a system where I can load the entire thing up and do some processing and be done. No, I don't actually play Planetary Nationally that much anymore. It was good for a while, but I don't know, I haven't been feeling that much like well, maybe it's the player competitive thing, I don't know. So I was in this project, I have to remember where we left off. I left off where I had done epoch testing, but that's still a full out. So actually, that is this. I don't yet have server identification in the data. I'm pretty much just if I go load the database, I'm going to need to do that. So one of the gotchas here is that whenever he updates data, and it doesn't really show up here because I tend to update 1 week at a time. Maybe maybe if I actually look at it, we can see that effect. Oop. So the problem with doing a search from everything is it goes into all these huge files here in the cache. So no, it'd be fetch. So that's the big thing. So yeah. So whenever the server does not return the updated times. And I actually swear it did do that. Now he did move servers, so maybe it's a little bit of a different thing. Also, birth dates is new. That appears to have been a one-time thing. Now this is the thing I've never looked at. Why birthdates.txt? I don't know if he documents what this means. And that might be a timestamp and player IDs? Anyway, I would swear that I was getting some dates somewhere. File.mtime. Fetch file date. It's the cache path. Extract path list. Oh. I think I originally did this on things that did list date. Unless I'm parsing this stuff to get a timestamp? And it's been a few days since I fetched data last. Ah, so you are a PA player, okay. Yeah, I did a fair bit of AI playing when I was doing it. Yeah, it's been a while since I played. I know in like the beta days, the AI would often annihilate me with artillery. Last I was playing, and it's been a while, Hawkins had fallen out of the meta. I mean, it can be a problem if you don't react to it. I don't know if it was like the energy cost or the build time or... I know it was not... I mean, it was situational, but it wasn't like just the best gun in the game. Huh. So we are getting timestamps. Okay, yeah. Where are we getting them from? Oh. So many sites do not work well with high contrast. There you go. Yeah. Why are you unhappy? Okay, so yes, the index is still returning timestamps, and what I was aiming for is that whenever he updates this, there is that. For whatever reason, he updates like 3 days worth. So this is one of the... I've never really checked to see if there's actual updates to it. But one of the complications is that if I want to do incremental updates to a database, I will need to understand that a record from a file is the same as a record in the database. Now, one way we might be able to handle that is to record the file name that it came from. That would give you, really only be useful for the update process, but it would mean the only time you'd really run into trouble is if there was multiple ID resets in one file, which I don't think we have anywhere in history right now. So I've got a thing that updates the files. Then I need to, I guess I'm going to have to track like last data import time. So that we can compare it to when we have files that are newer. Yeah, player timestamps won't necessarily do it because you'll have things in here that are much older. We would need to record actual like record written time. So one way to do it would just be to say, well, okay. Well, no, you can't just do it by pure timestamp. You'd have to know that the record came from this file. Yeah, I might have to record the source file because the only other way to do it is I have to get a perfect match on epoch, which how I assign epoch in an incremental process is an interesting thing. I'd essentially have to look up everything before the file, the maximum epoch, not including anything that we're about to overwrite. So I'm not really sure that I can do this without actually having a database. And I've been kind of back and forth on what database to use. I might do a local database just to try and work out, just like any old local database, just to try and work out some of the update issues. And then hope that translates to what we might want to use in an actual online environment. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of database development on this computer. Since it's going to be kind of temporary anyway, we might be able to just get the SQLite driver. And then I would want to put some, well, to test the incremental update. Well, to really test it, I have to get the actual data. I guess I could sort of cut out a couple of days. Okay. Do we have... Right. Now, this might depend on some system library stuff. Is it just SQLite? Okay, so that's an exact match. But it doesn't have very much. On to SQLite 3 gem. I don't know if I want magic. Data mapper. How do you have more downloads for... What does this use for the SQLite interface? Is it direct? Oh, is this... No. Wow. Ah. DO SQLite 3, but this is pretty old. This is on SQLite 3. This is very recent. SQLite Ruby is apparently still good because it's very, very old. What is Rails using these days? Now this might actually be like Active Record. Or that might be optional. So I must be getting it through some intermediary dependency. Ah, yeah, so Windows. Oh, this might be old. SQLite 3 Ruby. That won't necessarily get into... How old are you? You're also maybe a bit old. Well, the easiest way... Well, I don't know if this will actually work. No, I want it just a bash shell. Actually, I guess I need to do... New folder. All right, so how does this... Oh, this environment doesn't have gem sets. Well, that's going to be ugly. So, is it still thinking or not? All right, well, really, we just want to know about Ruby. So that's SQLite 3 Ruby. Seems to be coming up as the most popular. Despite not even showing up in this search. Yeah, that's got a few downloads on it. That's probably the dependency. All right, well, I guess I don't need you anymore. Man, you just went off somewhere. And I guess I don't need that print anymore. Where is that? Fetch. And then you would want SQLite 3 Ruby. Failed to build an extension. SQLite 3.h. Okay. So this is... Oh, that doesn't actually work. Well... SQLite.org. Do we need the source? So let's install. Hopefully the 32 works with the 64? All right. And here I thought this would be easier than setting up a full server database. Well, what's in here? There are no install instructions with that. And that would be stuff we would just stick on path. Well, maybe we need to get down to these things. Well, this is just in general. We actually do need the Windows specific thing. Where Ruby would look for libraries when you execute a script. Ruby installation bin. Nope. Did you put yourself at root? You might have put yourself at root. Yep. Okay, sure. Show up over there. DLL. Now it was saying I was looking for an H. So I might need to get a source package somewhere. Oop, I didn't want that. This could probably go... in my local bin. SQLite 3. So is that defaulting to a command mode or what? Okay, that killed the entire terminal. Okay, well, we know that exists. That's probably not going to be enough because I was looking for a header file. Yeah. It appears to be a different animal than when this the article was written. When that article was written, you only needed to get the DLL. Now you need a header file. Oh yeah, this is 2009. Yeah, okay. Uh, 2009. Ruby Dev Kit. Platform. Oh man, this is. This is making me wonder if it wouldn't be easier to actually use some of the data store. So the tricky part is that at some point, I am going to need to be able to do Well, I guess you're mostly going to be looking up players once you get a good key for them. If we're trying to do something that can answer particular questions about particular lives, well, we're either going to load all the lives and try to do something, or we're going to try to follow a family tree, which is going to be a messy process with a lot of requests. And I'd swear that this used to be a lot easier. And actually, the article from 2009 said it did used to be a lot easier. Huh. SQLite amalgamation. Cool deal. Separate source files, single large files of C cores. Hmm. Okay, autoconf amalgamation. Now he didn't say what environment you were running this shell in. So can you get away with that, or hmm. Uh, File placement is so weird on this. Maybe we need both during the build? Alright, now you were just pointing it at somewhere during the build. I don't really have any good directories for that. It's kind of a Ruby thing. Well, I guess. So normally I put that kind of put some of that stuff in here, but that is user specific. I guess the question is, does it need it to build the gem, or does it just need it to? Does it actually need it to run? No, and you. Let's see what's got this here. Man, I got hair or something. Oh, nope, that's the wrong set of stuff. Okay, so you need that to build, and you need it in Ruby. If I'm reading this correctly. Nope. And this is, we got to do a direct gem install. Well, it is doing the slashes that way. The total lack of output is a bit disconcerting. All right. Oh, there's something. Enhancing path. Oh, okay. So it just didn't do incremental output. Okay. So this should now see that that's installed. Oh, okay. All right, so now we get back to the usage level, because like you do it kind of for free when you're doing Rails and such. So this should actually, oh yeah, runtime dependencies. Open a new, oh yeah, we actually have to do SQL stuff. So I'd kind of like to keep this separate from the other things. Except I'm not sure if I can keep the loading process separate. Because the incremental updates are going to have to care about things like epoch and whether we're updating a record. And this is where we have to think about how we want to store this stuff. Looks like I might have to keep our origin file. Somewhere I may have to keep a timestamp for the last time we imported. So we can compare that to files and say, well, did something change? Then we need to redo that bit. All right, so our import process. Actually, this is going to have to be a. It's lifelog. That could probably be a life thing. I don't know if I actually need to save births and deaths individually. Now, when I'm loading things, when we create, oh, I can't do that as initializer. Because I've just been using keys so far. Well, I guess it just allows me to be lazy about it. I might have to stop doing that because I need to be very explicit about how we do that. Log create. Oh no, well, no, life log from a line. Life create it if it. So this is going to have something that says explicitly create it. And I guess I've always had this here. If there was some, like a killer reference that wasn't there, maybe it could have been a thing. Oh, birth and death could be in different files. So one of the reasons you might go backwards is to have the birth record and the death record, and the death record came later. So if I'm keeping lives, I can't just say, oh, well, this came from that file, because it may have come from multiple files. I guess in the database we will have to keep server. Because they're all going to be in one table. That gives you server epoch ID as the unique key, effectively. So that's something wrong. Well, so I've been getting a key field. You can have indexes on multiple fields. But if I want to be doing straight up database lookups, well, no, once again, you can search by multiple things. That's the whole point of the indexes. So right now the history is single server only. But if that's eventually going to be handling database stuff, and if we want to be able to say parent is single value, well, I guess if it's a parent lookup, you can figure out it has to be the same server in epoch, but I've included epoch in the key so far. What do we have? Okay, so source file isn't really going to work because the life can be split over multiple files. We might, I guess you could record birth and death file. Or I actually do just keep births and deaths. I could import the records raw. I'd have to reconstruct lives all the time. But if you imported births and deaths raw, well, you'd still have to keep track of epoch. You have to append the epoch and the server to them. And I guess every time I imported data, I could rebuild lives and yet in their table, and that could be a full reconstruction. But yeah, the file updates make it a little bit awkward. So when we're loading files, we have a load log, load dir, and names or something. Well, they're part of lives right now. But I might, in fact, want to have names as a separate thing so that I can just search on that table. File.join dir path. So load dir path is that. All right, and we had no, I haven't opened it today. What did I call it? Load all test? Yeah, and we can restrict that just to server 7. So that path is just there. All right, because this is doing it for each dir. So load dir has some of the server information. For each dir, do path. So that is going to be cache. Yeah, in a database, I might want to have a more compact way of expressing servers so I don't have to write out the entire server name. I can say like server 1, server S1, S2, S3 in that key. Or we keep it as a separate thing and do multiple index. Which wouldn't hold up if we end up doing a key values type database. For a server name table, and I don't know if my bias against really large keys is justified. But But having a full server path seems like it would make for some pretty long... I might want to cut out the life log, but... the full URL to the server would make it easier to add servers. So what we get is cache. If we wanted to to the end of the string, match data. So for this basic setup, assuming that these were all patterned this way, now this is getting the full thing. So conceivably in load log we could also do this. We would just have to go up until a path separator. Right, it's not dir anymore. And then that's lifelog create. And we're currently doing life. Which means, so does anything break if I just make this an empty hash? Well, I mean, we know that this breaks. If, so now that we've got a log, if live sublog.key actually, isn't there like an exist method? Any equal empty, the given key is present. So this would be actually if life.new we can say unless. Oh, and we actually have to assign this. Lives But if we're going, that means we forget very large keys. Epoch. Which actually then would be a key right back where we were. Okay. Epoch equals 0. Give you a default value. And then key. I think I might want to redo this. Now, we were having trouble with the values in the GraphViz stuff. Earlier. You know what? I think I constructed these in more than one place. That's probably a special character, isn't it? No? Because I'm pretty sure that angle brackets, oh, okay. Yeah. So names also need a key to find it, which means you're going to need server. I just wonder if I should be doing that somewhere else. And oh, okay. Well, this is at least still in the same object, sort of. And killer. And this is name log, which actually has to reference over to the other stuff a little bit. All right, so we've got epoch server namelog.player_id. Not sure. It's like I could have a lifelog method that required those parameters, but since I'm adding parameters, I'd still have to go and change them. I guess the only advantage is that the calls would have a different number of parameters, and that would at least give you an error. Player ID, epoch, server, and maybe that's all required. That was a typo. Nope. Namelog.playerID epoch server. All right, so we can load when we can't. Given 3, expected 1 to 2. Birth, aha. So probably death. All right, that super's up. Now we're in history. Yeah, we never finished this. But it's just going to be a key now, so we actually can kind of cheat that way. Just to have much bigger keys. Yep. Lost that one updating. Okay. Now we want to run and none of these ended up being local. Oh. That's what I hit. So output. Well, I guess I can tell. Actually, I might be out of range on this. Yeah, 2 days ago, this was Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, like 4 days ago. Okay, we got some names, and I think I've still got some extra prints somewhere. These are updated, and 30 kilobytes does not look like we were successful. Uh-oh, syntax error. Why are we having stand-in? Okay, well there's our key. Wait, epochs? Well, yeah, because epoch 0, because we're loading from only a recent bit of history. Oh, I actually had a couple on. Server 1. I did not realize that before. Okay, so this looks like dot is in fact not a valid character. What is the actual node shapes? I'm using a library. Which is apparently unaware that it should default quote things. So what is the allowed syntax otherwise? Attributes. Examples. Name synopsis. Well, it is documentation. These might be the command line programs. Attributes. Oh, the server name has dots too. I could probably backslash quote put some quotes into the key. But that really only applies to the GraphViz stuff. The problem is we do all these things with like killer and parent and anything else, and it's kind of annoying to have to do that. On every single one. I can rearrange my fields. Like we can go back to player epoch server. The server name. This is probably going to do too much work. We might want to cache that. All right, that's actual data. But I, in some cases, have to update the epoch, so it's not something you can just cache up front. Alright, so we get us, we get killer. Okay, key is once. Killer is once. Parent shows up a few times. You know what? Parent used to be an ID. Alright, so we do right, so we used to have to do the two S's on it. So I guess there's some place for some conversion here. Maybe underscores would work. Life log. Number of arguments wrong. Oh no, G-sub. Thinking of JavaScript probably. For nil. Alright, it's still a thing. Oh, no. Links broke. Why did links break? Maybe this wasn't a valid character. Anything non-alphanumeric is just no good. Nope. What? So what the heck are we doing here? Um... Um... Right, because it's still HTML. So this should be... So these are total bunk. Oh, that can compress the epoch. Shouldn't cause an issue, but it's still not really good. Of course, I was originally trying to put underscores in there. Did I leave that open? No, I did not. I guess I can actually write out both. Wait, did... I guess that was it. Having a 0 there created some weird contention. Yeah, it wasn't this, was it? Now, I've also got some prints somewhere. It might be in graph. Might be in... Where am I press printing on a number? Fetch file, unknown line type. Lives.length for each server? Right, number of things examined in each server. We weren't stop printing out all those server stuff. All right, that's a little bit more context. So that gives us unique keys across all of the servers, so we could put them all together. That would allow me to insert some data, maybe. So lifelog has what did I call it? Lives export. Oh, right. I did it because coords. which is not something that's going to serialize super well. We'll have to deal with that when we get to there. This is probably around the data we'd care about. Player ID name. Did I leave time out of this? Birth time and death time. That was a compound. Player hash. Killer is specific to a cause of death. I guess it can resolve some of the stuff. Yeah, that's kind of a derived field. Although that... Oh, okay. So in order to use this as something that goes in and out of a database, I'm going to have to set this up. So on birth and death assignment. We actually import all the fields, but... Okay, so nothing new there. Probably shouldn't even commit the SQLite yet, because I'm not really using it. Git add lib. Load all test, my recent lives. Well, actually, load all test. May have just been that. And my recent lives is really just the time extension, but let's see, live key includes servers. Probably our main contribution here. And the life log is going to have to sort of pre-parse out all of its fields so that it's something that we could rehydrate from a database record. Then we'll have all of the fields there to get some sort of export format for it. Then you can try saving and loading. And the question of, do I include name as an optional field, or do I just keep that as a separate table? Anyway, I do not want to go over late today. We'll have to see how many fires I have today. But I hope to be back doing some Subnautica Below Zero. We're kind of in a wrap-up right now. We can do some sea truck upgrades and poke around some more. Maybe I can go back into experimentals. I don't know if there's going to be anything new yet, but... Oh, there could be things broken. I should probably back up the save first. Anyway. That is it for now. A little bit of a crazy day, but we got stuff going on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hosting. Do I have anything to recommend right now? Let's see, that looks almost over. This is about when I tend to stream. I am currently working Tuesdays and Thursdays out of my schedule. Apparently there's a rerun going. Alright, I'm not entirely sure what this project is, but I do see somebody else doing some development that I've looked at in the past. Yeah, so it's stage Osu, so he might actually be doing some programming around Osu, I'm not sure. But if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until next time.